Everything down here, every plug only has one spot that it can go into. So there's no way that you can plug the wrong thing into the wrong position. But one thing you do not want to do is don't connect these two. Leave these two unplugged. To put the oil in the machine, you're just going to tilt the head back and remove this plug right here. And you want to fill up the oil level so that it's between the max and the min. As long as it's any place in between there, you're good. There's basically 3 different features of this foot pedal. Pushing forward is going to make the machine go. Heeling back halfway is going to raise the presser foot, and then heeling back all the way is going to cut the thread. So to start, we're going to put our thread on our spool. We can put them on in either one, and we'll start by taking the thread and putting it through the first thread guide. Then we're going to come down over to our bobbin tension and go up the first hole and around the tension discs and through the second hole. At this point, you should be able to feel a little bit of tension on the thread. If you don't, that means the thread is probably not inside those 2 tension discs. Then we're going to take a bobbin and put it on so that the holes are side up, and push it all the way down. And we'll take the thread and go from the inside of the bobbin to the outside of the bobbin so that the thread is straight up like this. Now we'll push our bobbin winder leveler to engage, and we will make sure that our presser foot is in its highest position. So to make sure of that, we have a little lever back here that we will raise to make sure the foot is up. At this point, all you have to do is hold on to the top thread and press down on the pedal. You'll soon notice that the thread is naturally going to break just due to the over twisting. So wind it to your desired level. If you want a full bobbin, just keep putting your foot on the pedal, and eventually this thing will kick off and the bobbin will be full. To cut the bobbin thread, we have a little blade right here. So we'll come over, cut the thread right there, and then pull the bobbin straight up. So, threading the top of the machine. We'll start just like we did with winding our bobbin by taking the thread, putting it on the spool, and going up the first thread guide. Then we're going to go through one of these 2 thread guides. You don't need to go through both of them, just one of them. Then we're going to go through this hole right here. And then around over the top of this pre-tensioner. Next, we're going to go into the tension discs and go all the way over and around the check spring and then underneath. At this point, we're going to lower our presser foot because our presser foot's been up this whole time. And there's 2 things you should feel or see. First thing is the tension, all right? You should feel thread on the tension itself. That means that we're inside these discs. If we're not inside these discs, then you're not going to feel any tension on the thread. And the second thing you should see is this check spring springing up and down. If you don't see that, then you haven't gone around this guide. Now we're going to go through this thread guide right here from right to left, and then through the take-up lever from right to left. We have another thread guide, then another thread guide, and then our final thread guide which is a hole that we have to take the thread and push it through. This hole, you want to go in kind of at an angle, oops, and don't hit the reverse button. And then we're going to go through the needle from left to right, which I can't do because I'm blind. Hold on. This is the most exciting part of the video. Like so. So let's learn about our control panel. A, B is referring to the initial lock stitch of the machine. So if I turn this on, what it's saying is the machine is going to go forward 2 stitches and then backward 2 stitches at the beginning of every seam. Watch what will happen. The machine will go forward 2 and then backward 2, or backward 2 then forward 2. I can't remember. Yep. So went forward 2 then backward 2, real quick like. Right at the beginning. The C and the D refer to what will happen at the end of the seam. So right now it's saying it's going to go forward 2 and then back 2 at the end of the seam, and that's what the C and the D mean. So here comes the AB, and then at the end of the seam, when I stop and I heel back, it's going to do 2 stitches again. So we can change these numbers and go up to 9. So just to show you what a difference would be, what we've done is we've changed, so at the end it's going to go forward and backwards 7, just so you can see what the difference is. So here's forward and backwards 2, A and B, and then C and D. I'm going to stop, and when I heel back, now watch what happens. So it goes back 7 and then forward 7. So you can adjust these to your liking. A, B, C, D is tacking. So what this means is the machine's going to go backward 4, forward 4, backward 4, forward 4. And then it'll stop. And then you can again change that to 9. Okay, here's 9. So now we have our function buttons. What the function 1 means is to turn thread cutting on or off. So right now we have the thread cutting off. I know it's a little weird because the light's on, but this means no thread cutting. So when I come to the end of my sewing and I heel back, the thread does not cut. If I have this off, when I come to the end of my sewing and I heel back, the thread gets cut. This function is slow start at the beginning, and it's really only for the first couple of stitches. I think it's on there to, you know, if you notice that if it's not threaded right, you know, it'll make kind of a weird noise at the beginning, so you could stop pretty quickly, but just at the beginning, just a couple of stitches. This is our single stitch button. So if we want to just make 1 stitch, we can just press this button and just make a single stitch at a time. If we want to do manual reversing, we can still do that. We don't have to have any of these programmed at all. So for manual reversing, you can hit this lever right here and push it all the way down. Or you can press this button right here, and that will reverse if you want to do it manually. Another neat feature of this button is that you can just press it one time and it'll just make a single stitch, just like this needle position button right here. This button right here is only going to be used for the speed of the machine. We're not going to use it for this, and we're not going to use it for this. We just have it set up for the speed of the machine. So when you press it, it's going to show you 20, a number. That's in stitches per minute. So we can increase or decrease the number of stitches per minute right here with a maximum of 4,000. So here's 4,000. And then we can go as low as, I think, 1,500, maybe even lower. No, all right, wow. You can go all the way down to 220. So this is with my foot all the way down. We can't adjust the speed while we're sewing, so if you did want to speed up or slow down, you would have to stop and then adjust the speed, and then you can continue.